Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now today a very quick video and we are going to be talking about Iceman's buff. And to kind of summarize it briefly, I think it's okay. It does make him better, undeniably. Will it make him kind of good enough for people to rank him up, use him all the time? I'm not quite sold on it. I do think that more could and potentially should be done. But, you know, at the very least, he is definitely going to be a better champion. So it's basically a value-based buff where none of the major abilities change. None of his real kit overly changes. The changes that are being made to Iceman, number one is the immunities. And he's finally getting Cold Snap and Frostbite immunity, which everybody has been asking for years because it never made any sense. But the new immunity that everybody's kind of talking about is Nova Flame. I personally don't think it's as big of a deal as it's kind of made out to be in a sense. Because, you know, now there's going to be one champion that you can't use Human Torch for. But we have a situation that's very, very similar in the game with, let's say, Raptures. You know, there's like literally one Rapture immune champion in the game. Obviously, Nova Flames are passive so far. But a real impact on Nova Flame immunity to the game is going to be significantly smaller than the actual Cold Snap, just because there are so many more situations you could benefit from Cold Snap immunity, because there are different nodes, there are more champions who inflict Cold Snap than the Nova Flame. But who knows, in the future, you know, we might get more champions with Nova Flames, more champions with Nova Flame immunities, and that, you know, that's how immunities typically grow and expand. There was a time when virtually no champion was shock immune, or no champion was bleed immune. Sorry, no champion was like shock immune or incinerate immune. And then eventually, you know, more champions acquired shock and incinerate, and we got more immune champions and so forth. So that might grow over time in the game in its importance. But at the moment, I do not want to overplay that. It's cool. It's nice. It's kind of like a novel thing. First ever. Everybody these days likes to celebrate historic firsts. But realistically, the Cold Snap immunity will definitely have more impact, at the very least in short term. But I do like, obviously, him getting more immunities, and he is like now one of the most quote-unquote immune champions in the game. Bleed, Poison, Incinerate, Cold Snap, no Flames now. There's pretty much only like Rapture and Shock that you can apply to the guy for the most part. Right, that being said, what has changed in his kit, like realistically? I don't think there is too much of a change with the way his ice armor functions, if any. It's still the 5% damage cap. You still get your armor from ice armor and functions as an armor up buff. Still reforms at exactly the same time. The bigger changes are here, and this is also like the one real way how he has his damage output improved right now. Previously, it was 45% chance, I believe, on critical hits to inflict Frostbite. That has been upped to 70% chance, which effectively means you will have significantly more Frostbites active. That also has been combined with the level 1 now giving you guaranteed Frostbite effects, 2 guaranteed Frostbite effects, plus obviously if you do crit, then you have a chance to apply more. And that is good. That is immediately going to increase his damage output, definitely. I think by the looks of it, then your heavy detonations are also more potent now than they used to be. So detonating your Frostbites with heavy attack will do slightly more damage than it did now. And the other kind of major change to Iceman that they have done is with his Cold Snap duration on level 1. Level 1 used to have 9-second Cold Snap duration. Now it has been increased by 5 seconds to 14-second duration on Cold Snap. And as we know, then besides Iceman's immunities, his only other notable bit of utility, I suppose aside from Ice Armor and tanking level 3s, was the Cold Snap and the fact that Cold Snap provides evades. But previously it was never really kind of long enough. You had to be extremely, extremely aggressive to try and maintain kind of like a full-time uptime on that Cold Snap and use him as an actual evade counter. It was unpractical, I would say. But now, with 14 seconds, there will be much better chance to have close to full uptime on your Cold Snap when you spam your level 1s. Therefore, he might legitimately be usable as an evade counter. So that is a positive change. I'm not super sure that 14 seconds will be enough for him to function that way. You still need to be like quite aggressive, but it's definitely sure as hell a lot better than 9-second cold snap duration on that level 1. The damage on the cold snap has not changed, which effectively means you will actually be doing less damage per tick, but it is, worth, I think, for the increased duration. And then the final two things that they have added to Iceman is that level 2 now, if you consume ice armor during level 2, causes all frostbite effects to expire instantly. Now, this will not give you the heavy attack detonation bonus, but it will work as a nice chunk of additional damage on that level 2. And that's neat. It's not too bad. When it comes to additional attack rating on your level 2s, that's remained the same as well, so there's no damage increase on level 2 at its base, really. And the final change is that the cold snap that's inflicted by special 3 has its duration increased from 9 seconds to 18, so that cold snap duration has been doubled. But again, 18-second cold snap on level 3 is not that long either. And realistically, in majority of the cases, you probably will not want to use your level 2s or level 3s. What you will want to do here is be as aggressive as you can, spam your level 1s, and weave in heavy attacks to detonate that. So ultimately, from what I saw, his damage is increased by a reasonable margin, but it would still be a damage output I would characterize as somewhat under average. He's going to be the type of champion that, potentially we look at Warlock maybe as, just not as necessarily powerful, where he has tons of immunities, he has some utility in his kit, but he will never be known as the fastest champion in the world, which is fine. Not every champion has to be. At the same time, I'm not completely sold whether a kit like this today can function when you compete with champions like Hercules, Galen, Hulkling, and, Kitty Pryde and Tigra. And I'm not saying that every champion has to be absolutely insane, but in reality, every champion in this game does exist in competition with other champions. And when we do have champions that are so busted, so crazy, so interactive, as I mentioned, your CGRs, your Hulklings, your Hyperions, your Kitty Prydes and Archangels and Tigers and Human Torches and Scorpions and Kingpins and stuff like that, will Iceman be competitive enough? I kind of have my doubts at the moment. I really do. I do think that there will be places and times for this guy potentially to shine. But at the same time, would you invest rank up materials in Iceman over Bishop or Kitty or Archangels? Like, you probably wouldn't. So we'll see. I think it's a solid buff. I don't think it's, inconsequential at all. I do think that there will be notable difference in between Iceman pre and post buff. Not just because of the immunities, but also increased frostbites and guaranteed frostbites on level 1 and increased duration on cold snap. It's just one of those things where I'm worried whether that's nearly enough for MCOC in 2023. But those are overall my thoughts. He also seemed to significantly kind of benefit from having... That's another thing where Iceman without Liquid Courage Double Edge is very, very slow, relatively slow in damage department. With Liquid Courage Double Edge, he looks much more presentable, but if you go the route of spamming level 1s, you eat a ton of recall damage, and he has no way how to recuperate that either. So there's going to be that typical kind of paradox where, you probably want Liquid Courage Double Edge damage bonus on the Iceman for him to be more competitive, but you really will not want to eat that much recall. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out for Iceman overall. Let me know what you guys think. I do hope that Kabam gives him a little bit more. Perhaps bigger damage increase on that level 2, or perhaps additional burst damage on that level 2 when you detonate your frostbites. or additional way to gain even more frostbites. I think that would be quite cool if they up that percentage to every crit gives you a frostbite, and potentially gives him additional way how to gain frostbites in general, or something like that. But yeah, let me know, guys, and I will catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the